all tier 1 pets in the pet battle PvP meta. But first, I should probably explain the tiers. The tier system is just one I borrowed from Yu-Gi-Oh! Tier 1 pets are great, tier 2 are average but not bad, and tier 3 is just for garbage pets like SS snails. If you don't know what SS stands for, just watch this little video real quick because I'm going to assume you know how breeds work. Also, there are no tier 0 pets currently. Tier 0 are for pets that are just straight up broken and OP, like old school Kovok and Direhorns. Now, tier 1 pets are pets that do very well in pretty much any team you put them in, because they have some kind of holy trifecta of stat, type, or ability synergy. For example, the Anubisath idol is a tier 1 pet because it's a high health humanoid type pet who can reduce damage by a lot. Humanoids heal up for 4% of their health every turn they do damage, so the fact that he has a large health pool and can last a long time means he heals up for a lot more than any other humanoid pet can, by himself with no other pet support, and dishes out a lot of damage at the same time. Then there are some pets who are only tier 1 if they're a certain breed. Take the Arctic Hare for example. The SS breed makes it one of the fastest pets in the game, and all of its moves take full advantage of that speed. But all other breeds of the Arctic Hare can be outsped by other fast pets pretty easily, immediately making them pretty much useless. Now, why is the rabbit tier 1? It's got 2 abilities to dodge moves, which, with a faster speed, is 100 times more valuable, and it has the elusive Flurry, the only multi-turn ability in the game that destroys decoy because of a coding error that has yet to be fixed. And it's strong against undeads, the most popular type of pet in PvP. Now, I'm pretty sure you understand why pets are tier 1 by now, so I'll go ahead and just lift off the rest of them, and give a tiny bit of info of why they're on this list. As mentioned before, the Anubisath idol and the Arctic Hare are tier 1 for the reasons I gave earlier. The SS Death Adder hatchling for its ability to outspeed everything but critters, and its blinding poison and puncture wound combos. The Unborn Val'kyr for its haunt ability. Any pet with haunt is immediately tier 1 for its ability to treat the pet as dead, give a free switch, and for being the strongest dot in the game. There's only one other pet with haunt, and that's the Ghastly Kid, who is also tier 1 just for having the haunt ability. The Power Emperor Crab, for being able to counter haunt 100%, and for its overly inflated power value, which allows it to hit harder and heal for more than normal pets. The SS Fiendish Imp for its ability to switch out your opponent's pet before they can attack during the round, giving you a free turn, plus its immolation and humanoid racial combo very well to allow it to heal for a considerable amount in the back row while doing damage. And immolation is really good at taking out decoy. The Hydroline and Ore Eater, both are tier 1 for being the only 2 pets in the game with the OP shell armor ability, a damage shield that reduces damage for a very considerable amount for 3 turns. They both also have a nice moveset to go along with their shell armor. The Hydro Wisp, one of the newest additions to the tier 1 list. This little bad boy is a fast pet with dodge who also has the best heal in the game, Wish, making it particularly hard to kill. The Mechanical Pandaren Dragonling for its decoy, thunderbolt, and breath ability, making it a double counter to magic type pets. Son of Seath, the only pet in the game with 3 heals in all 3 slots, 2 of which are very significant, and a high attack power value, and is an undead type. The HH Spirit Crab. This guy is probably one of the only undeads who can counter critters very easily. It's also got a ridiculously large health pool and can dish out a lot of damage. Also, it's undead. The undead racial is OP. The Tarot Claw Hatchling, one of the few flying type tier 1 pets. The Tarot Claw is the only flying type pet with a hot, who also happens to have a dodge. What makes this great is that flying type pets are the fastest pets in the game while above 50% health, which makes dodge 100 times better on fast pets. Plus, since it has a haunt, you can always just switch the pet out with the haunt active and bring it out later once it's back above 50% health and has its racial active again. Vengeful Porcupet, one of my favorite pets. This pet has a unique skill called Spirit Spikes, which reduces damage by almost as much as a shell armor for 1 round, and does a really nice amount of reflect damage. This ability is only really good if you're faster than your opponent, which the Porcupet can be if it powerballs a few times first, an ability that increases your speed by 20% for the rest of the match. The Frostwolf Ghost Pup, the hardest hitting Ghostly Bite user in the game, who also has Haunting Song, a team-wide heal that lets you counter AoE teams pretty nicely. The SS Bronze Whelpling has a controllable stun and a dodge in the form of Liftoff on a really fast pet. Weebomination, the only pet in the game with a spammable split AoE that doesn't lock you into the move. A super high health pool with a heal as good as Wish. So tough to take out. It's also an undead. They should really do something about that racial. The Bone Serpent, another undead. The only non-flying type pet who can pull off the Darkness Nocturnal Strike combo. The Fossilized Hatchling and the Fragment of Anger. Two more undeads. Both have very strong AoE abilities that don't rely on other pets to set up. The Hatchling is a little bit better though, since it also has a very nice heal. Now, I'm going to list all the tier 1 pets that are hard to get / no longer available. First off, we've got the Mercolot. How I wish I had this pet. This is the only pet in the game with the ability Righteous Inspiration. It's a free switch ability that gives the pet who switches in double damage and speed for 1 turn. Combine this with a hard-hitting AoE like the Fossilized Hatchling or Fragment of Anger to do just an absurd amount of damage to your opponent's entire team. Little Ragnaros, a pet from the in-game store. It's the hardest hitting pet in the game, with an incredibly annoying trap and submerge. The Dread Hatchling has the hardest hitting Darkness and Nocturnal Strike combo in the game. Although Jungle Beaks and Crows can pull off the combo with pretty much the same effectiveness, and are pretty good too. It's just the Dread Hatchling is the best at it. And finally, we've got the Blossoming Ancient. It's just really hard to kill. Actually, a quick little edit. Good thing I waited a little bit to actually make this video. A new tier 1 pet was just released with the launch of Heroes of the Storm, Graves. It has 2 really good AoEs on 2 separate tiers. Is undead, has a lot of health and power, and that's just really good. Kinda OP like the Terraclaw Hatchling and Shell Shield. Expect to see a lot of these in the near future. Now, that's quite the list of tier 1 pets. You can pretty much put any of these pets in the same team and get a few wins, although I'd recommend putting pets that do well with each other. Speaking of which, there are some pets that, while are not tier 1 by themselves, are absolutely tier 1 with the support of another pet. Bleed teams are a prime example of this. While the infected bear cub isn't tier 1 on its own, if you're able to get a bleed on a target and switch into it, it all of a sudden turns into a tier 1 pet with that ridiculously hard-hitting maul ability. And then there's clone dance teams. If the pet, like the Blighthawk, is on the same team with a pet who can use Rain Dance, it becomes a tier 1 team because of the high amount of AoE damage Cyclone and Rain Dance do when combined. And then we've got Dreadful Breath teams. While none of the pets who can use Dreadful Breath are tier 1 on their own, put 2 together with a Cleansing Rain weather effect and all of a sudden you've got yourself a tier 1 team. I strongly recommend the Droplet of Yasiraj and the Scourge Whelpling, since the Droplet can put out the weather effect and use the breath together, and the Whelpling has an HH breed available, making it a very tanky undead who can spam Dreadful Breath longer than any other pet with the ability. And then there's the Elec plushie. Yes, the pet with no damaging moves. On its own, worthless, but combine it with 2 tier 1 pets and it makes the perfect damage soaker that can give you free switches, because you do switch a lot in PvP. Also, it's really good for allowing you to basically just use the cooldowns on your tier 1 pets and then switch out once the cooldowns are down. Go into the Elec plushie who's able to take a beating and then use his really great ability to do a free switch with no cooldown to go back into your tier 1 pet whose cooldowns are all fresh and ready to go. Because a lot of the tier 1 pets on here are tier 1 because they have really good cooldown based abilities like Shell Armor or Blinding Poison. Alright, and I think that's it for top tier pets. There are a lot of tier 2 pets that also do very well, like the Magical Crawdad, Sporling, Wolvar Pup, Warbot, who all do very well by themselves but are just overshadowed by the other 25 plus pets on this list.